Happy Monday, everybody. My hair is shorter. I've got a new buddy who I'm house sitting for. That's Frankie. I introduced him in a video that I've already filmed, but you won't have seen yet. And I've been really wanting to clean out my Goodreads TBR because I have 610 books on my want to read list, and that is just a ridiculous amount. And there are books that I put on there almost 6 years ago at this point, and I know that I'm not interested in all of them, so I just wanted to go through those with you and take some off that I'm not interested in, maybe find some that I want to prioritize. So I thought we'd do that today. Okay, so let's go through this. I have it set from date added, and I can just talk through a few of these. I've been hearing some things about Neil Gaiman lately, so I'm pretty sure I'm gonna just take this off my list. My goal here is to eventually get under 500, I think. Actually, the ultimate goal is to get under the amount of books I have read on Goodreads. So I have 454 books logged on Goodreads, and I would love to have under 454 books as my want to read. For history of nearly everything, what are you? Definitely want to read Oliver Twist. What are you? What are you? A while ago, I read The Pier Falls, which is still one of my favorite books of all time, and it's a book of short stories by Mark Haddon, who wrote The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime. After that, I got on a kick of wanting kind of weird short story anthologies, so I think that's what these two are. I read The 100-Year-Old Man Who Climbed Out a Window and Disappeared, and I really loved it. It's such a comforting, feel-good book. I don't know if I need to read these. I feel like I'll keep the second on my list. Well, what is this one about? Let's see. Save. Okay, honestly, that still sounds fun. Yeah, I'm gonna keep this on. Okay, another Neil Gaiman, which I do not need. Bye. I think I'll keep one Sue Monk Kid on my want to read list, and then if I like that one, I will add the other one. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna keep The Secret Life of Bees. Let me look at this. Yeah, so I'm gonna take this one off and keep The Secret Life of Bees, and if I really like that, I will probably add The Invention of Wings back. I don't know what this is, but I love the cover, and so I'm gonna keep it. Let's go through the ones I have open. Short History of Nearly Everything. I have really fond memories of listening to The Life and Times of the Thunderbolt Kid by him on audiobook on long car trips. Yeah, I'll keep that one on the list. What is this? The Redemption of Galen Pike. Galen Pike? One of the things that I find difficult about BookTube is that when I go to a bookstore, I already have an idea in my head about what books I want to read. That makes it so I don't have the same joy of like going into a bookstore and seeing a cover title that really speaks to me and reading the back and then getting all excited about it. So I do love having things on my want to read that I've just heard about once and don't really remember, but that I just don't need that on the list anymore. Hall of Small Mammals. I need to cap myself at a certain amount of short story collections, but this is staying. Also, if there's anything that you see at any point that I either take off the list and you think it is really good and I really should be prioritizing it, or I keep on the list but you've read it and you really dislike it, let me know in the comments. I am fully willing to be convinced one way or the other. Mythology. Let's see. I can't take it off. See, this is my issue, is that I look at this, it's 500 pages. Have I ever read a book about mythology that wasn't reimagined? No. Do I still think I'm gonna read this one? Obviously. Okay, and back we go. Murakami. I know that Murakami is like a classic, but based on things that Books with Emily Fox says, and I usually agree with her, I just think that I'm going to get tired of the way he talks about women. So I will keep one Murakami on this list. I'm not sure which one, but I'm going to read one Murakami, and then if I don't like it, never again. My partner just read The Tattooist of Auschwitz and really liked it. My grandmother was a Holocaust survivor. So when I was little, I was really, really interested in reading about the Holocaust, and almost all of the historical fiction books I read were on that subject. And now I definitely am a little bit more choosy with which books I read, especially things that I have knowledge of already. I often feel like I would rather put my time and energy towards learning about things that I don't understand so much and would be beneficial and necessary for me to understand. My partner is Irish, and I really want to read a book about the Troubles this year. There was one that my friend Bonnie was just telling me about. I need to get the name off of her. But I feel like when I do want to read a heavier hitting book like that, I want it to be about something that I'm not intimately familiar with. Siren. From the mixed up files of Mrs. Basil E. Frankweiler. Middle grade, young adult. I don't read a lot of middle grade or young adult, so I do think I'm going to be removing this. Beekeeper's Apprentice. Why did I know about this? Probably my mom. Yep, shelved by Amy, who is my mom. Okay, I think I'm going to take this off my list. I'd rather read a new story with new characters than kind of a retelling of a Sherlock Holmes thing. Mysterious Benedict Society. One of my favorite books of all time is The Phantom Tollbooth, and I didn't read that until I was an adult, so it makes me want to keep things like this on my list, even though I so rarely read middle grade. Okay, I'm going to keep it on the list. Book of Lost Things. Fantasy fiction, young adult horror. So Thanks. You were just knocked over by a cat. I think I'm going to take the Book of Lost Things off my list. The Island of Sea Women. I love this cover. All-female diving collective. This is putting together all of the things that I'm interested in. So that will be staying. Lost Girls of Paris. I'm an undercover historical fiction reader. Ring of Female Spies during World War II. I eat this shit up. What can I say? Yeah, it's staying. I'm not doing very good at this. Frankie's inside the window. Okay, hold on. I have to show you this. You don't belong in there, bud. What are you doing? Hi. This is going. I don't need another mythology book that I will probably not read on my shelf. I feel like I'm Not Your Paper Princess is not going to be something I like. The Princess Saves Herself in this one, all those Amanda Lovelace books, I didn't love. It's not my type of poetry, so I'm just going to take that off. I'm never going to be a carry-on girl. I'm just not going to be. I literally only have The Avenue of Giants on my list because I once thought it would be a cool thing to name a book. And then I realized it was already a book. Brain on Fire I had, and then I did declutter it because I don't think my mental health can take it. Frankie has the zoomies. Oh my gosh. I think this whole section is books I physically have somewhere, I think in a box in my parents' garage. And so I probably won't take any of these off the list. Asymmetry, highly recommended by my mom. Terrible reviews. I still think it's going to be good. I tried to read Let the Great World Spin. I think I got like maybe a third into the book and I just put it down and never picked it back up. The cover is honestly one of the main things keeping it in my life. I also love the title, but I think it's time for me to get rid of it. The Help. I watched the movie and really liked it. I've since heard that there are a lot of problematic things about it, and I would rather read better representation. So I'm just going to take that off. I read another book by Christopher Moore, and I just didn't think it was that funny. I'm very particular about my brand of humor in books. The town psychiatrist has decided to switch everybody in Pine Cove, California from their normal antidepressants to placebos. So naturally, well, to be accurate artificially, business is booming at the local blues bar. Okay, he gets one more chance from me. One more. The Inheritance of Loss. I think that this can come off my list. I've had it for years, again, somewhere in my parents' garage, and I just have never read it, and I think I won't. Hotel on the Corner of Bitter and Sweet. Another one that I've had forever, but I do want to get around to it at some point. Pillars of the Earth. I will never read this. It is so thick. It's almost 1,000 pages. And I honestly don't care about medieval times. Everyone smelled and was upset and women had no rights. Okay, so this is going to come off my list, finally. I am freed of the tome that is the Pillars of the Earth. Okay, we're getting somewhere. Fall of Giants. 985 pages? I don't think so. The Enmity of the Fitzherberts. Welsh coal mining family. Destiny. Woodrow Wilson. Okay. Nope. I'm sure it's amazing and a masterpiece of writing, and I don't want to read 1,000 page book, let alone 3. Codename Verity. A British spy plane crashes in Nazi-occupied France. I think I heard about a lot of these books from Haley in Bookland because she's also a huge fan of World War II fiction. I think I just kind of added anything on my list that she recommended, and now actually reading what they're about, a lot of them are not interesting to me. Geography of Bliss, One Grump's Search for the Happiest Place in the World. Cool. Titles, especially of poetry collections, really get me, and the Octopus Museum, it sounds so cool, but I think I'm just gonna take this off my list. I don't know if I want dystopian science fiction poetry. And these are a bunch of classics that I want to read, or modern classics, I don't know. Hi, it got very dark last night and I got very hungry, so I decided to just wait and film the rest of this today. It also made me realize that I had been filming for like 40 minutes and only had gotten through, I think, like 40 books. So I'm gonna try to be quicker today, but honestly, no promises. Tea made, snack acquired, sun is out, let's do this. I'm just trying to remember where I left off. Okay, I got through more than I thought. I got through like 75 books. Am I ever going to read Brandon Sanderson? I know I should. Everyone says I should, but I feel like, will I ever really get around to it? Good question. Ow, Bubba, stop eating my knee. No, do not attack me. Frankie's in attack mode, so I'm giving him a sock. Now he's in sock attack mode instead of attack my leg mode, which I think is better. Okay. The Name of the Wind. I'm like, am I gonna read that? But I feel like I have to keep it on my list. I put this on my list, Allegra Maud Goldman, because I wanted to do a video about books that have my name in them. This is from 2020, and that's how long I've been thinking about making a BookTube channel, and I just haven't. Thief. This is by C.L. Stone, who is the author of the Academy Ghostbird series that I talked about in my reading wrap-up, that there are 14 books and just nothing has happened and they're just getting worse and worse. So I think I don't need this on my list anymore. I'll see how I feel about Spinning Silver. I tried to read Unrooted, I believe, by Naomi Novik, and I couldn't get through it. I really liked the Golden Enclave series. I know a lot of people don't like them, but I really enjoyed them. I love The Magical School, and I really enjoyed the twist on that in the Golden Enclave series, but I don't know if her other books are for me. Allegra in 3 parts. This is for the same like video concept that I was talking about before. The Dreamers, it's like a science fiction dystopian about people falling asleep, girls specifically. It's like a pandemic of sleep. It doesn't have great reviews, but Kayla gave it 5 stars, and then a friend of mine gave it 2 stars. So we'll see. Okay, this is a book that the cover got me. This is exactly the type of cover I love, but I just don't think I'm gonna like it. It looks like a Romeo and Juliet retelling, and it is romance, young adult. I just don't think I'm gonna like this. So I'm gonna take this off my list, although I love the cover. The Unlikely Pilgrimage of Harold Fry. My mom was just telling me about this book. My mom is one of the 3 friends that I talk about books with. Okay, that could be cute. Fox 8. I love any books about nature. Corinne just uploaded a video called Books That Feel Like You're Spending Time in Nature or something like that. And it was exactly what I needed. So I am really interested in Fox 8. This book I have 100% kept just because of the cover. It's beautiful. Michael Pollan is a professor at the university that I went to, and I'm always interested in reading his books, but I've never read one of them. I went to one of his lectures, but I've never read one of his books. Maybe because it's spring, I'm just craving reading books about nature. I don't think I want to read a young adult book about golf, quite honestly. And also it's humor, and as I said, I'm very picky about the humor in my books. I'm gonna check now how many books it says I have my want to read. 571, only 120 to go. I can do this. I can do this. Fairtown, definitely staying. It's been on my want to read since 2020, and I'm afraid to read it. Okay, I loved The Hate U Give, but I don't think Angie Thomas's young adult are as much for me anymore. I probably wouldn't start a new series, but I might read Concrete Rose. I can tell by the cover of this that I'm not going to read it. That's trickery. Guest list. You know what? Actually, it seems like an easy, like, brain off thriller, so maybe I'll keep it on. I've never read a Lucy Foley, actually. Historical fiction, World War II, France. I'm bored at myself. So, I'm boring myself with my reading taste in this list. That being said, am I going to keep it on my list? Probably. A Woman Is No Man. Debut novel by a Palestinian American voice takes us inside the lives of a conservative Arab family living in America. I should probably move this up on my list. It has really good reviews. This is the book my friend Bonnie recommended. I definitely want to read this one. I have 3 people that I really talk to about books with. My mom, my friend Bonnie, and my friend Natasha. Whenever one of them give me a specific recommendation, I try to read it. But this looks really interesting. The Vixen's lead, I already know I'm not going to like that. Another Murakami that's going off the list, because I'm just going to keep that one. I've never consumed Howl's Moving Castle in any form, and I would like to at some point, because people are obsessed with it. Radio Silence. See, this is another one that I feel like it's not my genre, but people are so obsessed with it that I want to read it. Also, does it give anyone else the ick a little bit when authors rate their own books 5 stars? Okay, I know nothing about this, but it's a magically inspired tale of a man who is reincarnated through many lifetimes so that he can be with his one true love, death herself. That gets me. I am obsessed with war reporting, hence all of these books. Okay, God Just Wants to Play Golf. That I believe I will be taking off my list. I am officially under 100 books to go. 99 to be exact. I was severely underwhelmed by The House on the Cerulean Sea, so I do think I'm going to take off Under the Whispering Door. See, this is another one, Gallant by V.E. Schwab. I just don't know if I'll like it. I also only feel like I need to keep one Riley Sager on my list. I've never read a Riley Sager, but I feel like I should at some point. Frankie sometimes stares at the wall, like the blank wall, and just meows at it. And I'm worried he's seeing ghosts. I've heard a lot of good things about The Bone Shard's Daughter, but this synopsis is giving me nothing. I think tightropes on book covers are the niche design that get me interested in any book. I love a tightrope on a book cover. Have I ever read a book about tightrope walkers? No. The biggest bee is in this house. Dude, what are you doing here? Okay, pause this. I'm on a rescue mission. The things I have available to me are my passport and a half-used candle. That's how we're gonna get this bee out of here. Come on, sir. I respect you and I appreciate you, and I also don't want you in my house. Sorry, buddy, I don't want to damage your wing. Can you get in here, please? Okay, now how do I get this thing out of here? Okay. Success. That was chaos. Wow. Okay, well, that was chaotic, and we are back. The arrangement. I don't think I'm gonna like this because I didn't like My Lovely Wife, which is like everyone's favorite domestic thriller. And I just don't know if I'm interested in reading about the marriage falling apart and it turning into a thriller. An Irish Arab journalist dating a Palestinian would-be activist. Interesting. I don't remember how this got on my list, but I kind of want to move this up towards the top of my list. I'm also going to start a priority want to read shelf at some point, and this could be on it. This is taking so much longer than expected. New outfit, new tea, new snack, after dinner, after eights. but same task. So let's go. Okay, the things I have open right now. I'm gonna start being a little more ruthless because this is taking a really long time. Here come a bunch of poetry collections. I think this was from the 2022 poetry nominees. Someone says that Serenity is similar to Ruby Carr and Amanda Lovelace, two poets who I notoriously don't enjoy. So that will be coming off the list. I tried to read this and I don't remember getting very far, so I'm going to take this off my list. And then this one just has a great title, so I want to read it. And it says readers also enjoy The World Keeps Ending and the World Goes On, which is one of my favorite poetry collections of all time. So I'm going to keep this. Magma. How is this on my list? It seems like it would be one of those sad girl lit fics. Dear Mrs. Bird, this looks interesting. It says it's for fans of the Guernsey Literary and Potato Peel Pie Society. I loved that movie. It's one of the rare instances when I liked the movie better than the book. So I wonder what that means about this. I'm going to keep it on the list. Mother for Dinner. I really want to read this, and I just haven't. That's why I need to get this list shorter, because there are so many books on this that I am thinking, wow, that's so interesting, and I don't even remember that they're on my list. Lucky's is another one that I don't know if I will ever read. It has really low average ratings, but my creative writing professor during my master's wrote it. So I'm like, I should keep it on my list. Like, everyone says to read in the dream house, and I just don't know if I ever will, quite honestly. It's so interesting because now we're at the point where I can see that I'm getting most of my recommendations from BookTube, and there are some books like Shark Heart and Chlorine that I remember putting them on the list, and I remember why they sounded interesting to me, and I've heard about them since, and then there are some that I just haven't heard about since. Let's see what I have open right now. Magic Has No Borders. Fantasy, short story, young adult, anthology. I just don't know if I'm going to be interested in young adult short fantasy stories. This is a sports romance. I had a little foray into sports romances. I'm not a huge romance person, and I read like 2, 3.5 star sports romances. I was like, oh, maybe this is my genre, but I very much got over that. Maybe I'll keep this around just if I'm having a really bad mental health day. Okay, now we're into the latter half of last year. So I think a lot of these I will still be interested in. See, this is my worst nightmare. This is the last one by Will Dean, and it's about this person and her boyfriend, I guess, on a cruise ship, and then she goes to sleep and wakes up and is the only person on board. It sounds a little bit like that one In Space. Oh, I can see the cover. It's like a hand on a porthole. Dead Silence. And that was a 4-star book for me. So I think I'll keep it on the list. This is Other Birds. I'm a sucker for books that just bring a bunch of kind of strange characters together, and then we just learn about all of them. So I'm going to keep this one. And we're getting to the point where all of this I've added so recently that I'm not going to take any more off. Let's see how many books I made it to in my want to read list. 503. So I didn't get down to the 457 that I wanted to get to, but I did take over 100 off my list. So I'm still going to call that a win. I wish that I had gotten to under 500 and I could probably just like go back through and take 3 more off. But I've been filming this for so long that I honestly just want to be done with it and move on to curating a priority TBR. So that's what I think I'm going to do. Thank you so much for watching me rant and ramble. And as I said at the beginning, if you think that I should prioritize any of the books that you saw while I was scrolling through, let me know. If there's a book that I took off that you think is a must read, or a book that I kept on but I should probably skip, let me know. So thanks for being here, and see you next time.